a.m. Central, and you are tuning into Dr. J's Prescription for Health. And I'm your host, Dr. Jensen, Dr. Malea Jensen. I am a board-certified family physician. I am located in Des Moines, Iowa. We are live right now on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you guys can do me a humongous favor, if you can jump on over to Facebook and search out Center Stage Primary Care, click the follow button, that would help me. If you're on Instagram, Iron Lady Doc, IronLadyDoc. All right, Iron Lady Doc, and I'm Iron Lady Doc on YouTube as well. So go on over there, do the clickety clack thing. Let's get these things going here. All right. It seems like they're still telling the followers that I'm live. So let's wait a second here while we're getting everybody joined in. Looks like YouTube is going strong. Facebook is going strong. Here they come. Here comes everybody. Good morning, Diegos. Good morning, Liesel and Carla. All right. We're getting some followers here. Good. All right. So I thought we would talk a little bit about blood pressure. We can delve into some coronary artery disease, some LDLs. There's so much to talk about, you guys. But the reason why we do these live streams is an opportunity for you to ask questions. Ask away. Good morning, Bram. Good morning, Regina. Thank you for joining, everybody. But this is a time for you guys to ask your questions. If you want to ask questions in regards to your health, awesome. I will try to answer them. If I do not know the answer, I will tell you I do not know the answer. Simple as that. I don't know everything. I don't claim to know everything. In fact, things I might know might not be right. So that's why we're here to discuss things. So Kid RN is listening in from Missouri this morning. Where are you guys listening from? What city, what state, what country? I would love to know where you are tuning in. It's always fun to see where you guys are listening from. I am in Des Moines, Iowa, in case you guys didn't catch that. It's 9 a.m. Central. The date is May 24th. May 24th. All right. There's Lucy and Dave. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate it. And Diego's are in Dallas right now. Whoa. Long way from home. Okay, you guys, let's delve in. I did a reel this morning, a reel in regards to salt. And can salt cause high blood pressure? From my Yorkshire, England. Nice. Thank you, Dave. Thank you for listening. I appreciate that. Yorkshire, should have said, not Yorkshire. Or maybe it is Yorkshire. And so either way, Yorkshire or Yorkshire. Okay, so this morning when I was doing my reel on salt and high blood pressure, I think back to my early days. So I was just getting out of residency when, back in 2001, the USDA pretty much told us that we need to cut out salt, that it was detrimental to our bodies. And one of those detriments is the fact that it can it raise your blood pressure. So I'm going to argue both sides of this story. And I can do that quite well, I think. For the most part, we have been told that if we consume salt, we are going to increase our risk of high blood pressure. Now, why is that? Why is it that if we increase salt, we're going to increase our blood pressure? Before I delve into that question, I want to share with you the fact that prior to refrigerators, we preserved meat with salt. I'm talking over 150 years ago, okay, you guys? Before refrigerators, we preserved our meat and we added salt. You would think that all these people would have the ramifications of too much salt because they were consuming upwards to 15 grams a day. 15. 15. That's like over 3 teaspoons, about 3 teaspoons of sodium a day. And if what they're saying is salt raises blood pressure, you would think that more people back in before refrigerators would be getting hypertension, which would be getting strokes, which would be getting heart attacks, which would be getting dementia. So if it's not really the salt, what is it then? Well, I'm going to argue that it is salt, but it's only in certain situations. It is Yorkshire. Okay, love and best wishes from a 70-year-old. Well, thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. What does salt do? One of the main, let's just talk about, okay, let's clear the air. There are so many biologic, physiologic, chemical processes that are going on in our body at any one time. So I could talk to you about one mechanism of how salt raises our blood pressure. Just one. There could be many, but I'm just going to give you one that I want to solidify why I eat the way I do and why I encourage you to eat the way you do as well. Okay? So salt. Salt activates a pathway in our liver. Remember, this is just one process in our body. This pathway is in our liver, and it's called the polyol pathway. Polyol, polyol pathway. And that pathway allows for excess glucose in our body to be converted to fructose by our liver. I have explained to you the ramifications of fructose in many arenas, and I'm going to tie in how fructose causes high blood pressure. You already know that I've talked about how fructose causes fatty liver disease. Fructose can only be metabolized by the liver. Unlike glucose, where it can be used by the cells all over our body. But when glucose is in excess, which it often is, the liver is going to make fructose through the polyol pathway in the liver. Okay? So let's just have a scenario here. I just want to step back a minute. If you are a person who does not have excess blood sugar, are you going to worry about the polyol system converting it to glucose or fructose? No. No. There's not enough glucose. If you're a carnivore, if you're a ketovore, there's not enough glucose that's going to go to the liver and can be converted to fructose. So I know you might be wondering that. Well, there's sugar still in some meat. Yes, there is. Not enough. Our body produces about 5 or 6 grams a day to keep us going. So at any one time, our body should have between 4 and 6 grams of glucose in our bloodstream. That's normal. That's normal. But we overindulge in carbohydrates, so it elevates our blood sugars way higher than that. Okay? So this excess blood sugar, glucose, can be sent to the liver and then converted by the polyol system to fructose. Okay? Now, fructose. What does fructose do? Yes, fructose causes fatty liver. We know that. Yes, fructose acts just like alcohol and causes fatty liver. Non-alcoholic fatty liver and alcoholic fatty liver, same thing. Different processes, same thing. Fat around the liver. Fructose elevates uric acid. What's wrong with uric acid? I know you hear about uric acid. Oh, uric acid and gout. Okay. When uric acid is high, we can get crystals forming and we can have gout in the joints, anywhere. Okay? But what else does uric acid do? How does it relate to blood pressure? It elevates blood pressure. How? Great question, Dr. Jensen. You see, uric acid actually blocks an enzyme that helps to make nitric oxide. Oh, brother. Dr. Jensen, you're going really, really deep. I know, but I'm trying to go slow. Good morning, Dennis. Dennis is listening to us over on YouTube, and I really appreciate that. So if you guys are members of YouTube, please jump over to YouTube at Iron Lady Doc, Malea Jensen, and subscribe, okay? That would help me. I have low amounts of followers over there, and let's build it up. Let's start getting more active over there on YouTube. So this uric acid blocks an enzyme called nitric oxide synthetase. Anything that usually ends in ASE, ACE, is an enzyme in our body. Okay? Reductase is an enzyme, a reduction enzyme. So this nitric oxide cannot be formed by the endothelial cells in our arteries if uric acid is high, because it blocks the production of nitric oxide. And so what has nitric oxide been shown to do? Nitric oxide is produced in numerous areas in our body, but one of those areas that I'm talking about right now is in the lining of every artery. So inside the very first lining of the arteries is the glycocalyx. And just inside that is an endothelial layer. It's one cell layer thick, and they're called endothelial cells. And endothelial cells produce or can produce nitric oxide. If uric acid level is high, like let's say it's 7, 8, 9, then it blocks nitric oxide production. What do we need nitric oxide production for? Well, there's three main things that you need it for. Nerve cells, immune system, blood pressure, vasodilatation. Nitric oxide, in terms of hypertension, helps to vasodilate arteries, opens them up, relaxes the smooth muscle so they open up and blood can flow freely. If you are consuming too much fructose, fruit or high fructose corn syrup, or you're consuming too much glucose, these are ways that you can have an excess of fructose in our blood. Now, fructose does not elevate glucose, and fructose does not elevate insulin, and fructose does not elevate hemoglobin A1C. So how do you know that your fructose level is high? You guessed it. Check a uric acid level. If uric acid level is elevated, it indicates that your fructose level is likely also elevated. See, I don't think that people really understand how detrimental fructose is. Oh, but it's natural. Natural as in what? Naturally made in a lab by people who work in a lab? Because that's what the fruit seeds are. That's what they are now. Hi, Lucy. Thank you for joining over there on YouTube. I really appreciate it. If you can, I don't know how that works over at YouTube, but can you share it? Can you share this right now? Let me know. So I'm just trying this out. This is the first time, well, actually the second time I've gone live on YouTube. Good morning, Chat with Lucy. How is Lucy today? How is your health doing today? We'd love to hear, because this is your Instagram and Facebook family. My mom just joined in. Hi, Mom. Everybody say hi to Mama J. I appreciate it. Okay, so if we're wondering if our fructose levels are elevated, get a uric acid level. If uric acid levels are elevated, I would venture to guess that you have high blood pressure. And if you have high uric acid levels, you have high blood pressure, you likely have high risk for diabetes, high risk for dementia, high risk for coronary artery disease. You know, back in the day, we were studying some medications. When I first got out of, I believe when I first got out of residency, there were a couple of ACE inhibitors that were coming up on, they were just coming to the scene. And this one was made by, see, when I was I was just in this learning mode when I was getting out of residency, and I took my first job. Mom, Marnie says hello, and so does Catherine. They are both saying hello to you over there from Instagram. I wanted to know as much information as I possibly could. And so once people were starting to figure out, let's just say it's around the year 2000, people are starting to figure out that uric acid levels, when elevated in our body, can increase our risk of having blood pressure problems. We also were starting to learn about nitric oxide about that time. At least I was, because I didn't learn about it in residency, and I surely didn't learn about it in medical school. So this nitric oxide, pharmaceutical companies started to develop medications that could stimulate the endothelial cells of the arteries to produce nitric oxide. And one of those medicines was an ACE inhibitor by the name of quinapril. And I believe at that time it was made by Parke-Davis. I think that when Parke-Davis got bought out by, maybe it was Pfizer, quinapril, which was Acupril, it got bought out. And then eventually quinapril, is it quinapril and Acupril? See, this is a long time ago. Well, they become generic, as you know. But that's how companies started figuring out that, hey, we can make a medicine that can stimulate nitric oxide production. When I was bodybuilding, I mean really into it, I was taking a nitric oxide booster. So it's not like we didn't know. So if we took a nitric oxide booster or took Acupril or quinapril, any pril, lisinopril, benazepril, all the prils are ACE inhibitors, which stimulate the endothelial cells to release nitric oxide. Bistolic, an alpha beta blocker, has also been shown to do that. So we knew that if we increase vasodilatation, more blood flow would go to the area and your muscles could grow bigger. It was just one aspect of it, okay? But you can see where this trickle-down effect, just from salt, do you think that they really were looking into this whole progression when they say, you know what, salt's bad for you? Salt causes blood pressure. They might have known, and that might be the case in people who eat carbohydrates. And that's 90% of the population. Remember, 50 to 60% of the population right now have prediabetes or diabetes. Just look. Oh no, Dr. Jensen, my blood sugars are fine. What's your A1C? It was fine too. Okay, what was your insulin level? Insulin level, you mean the blood sugar? No, I mean insulin level. What was your insulin level? What was your fasting insulin level? Right. Did you get a glycated albumin level? No. Did you get a fructosamine level? No. What was your triglyceride level? You see, we're dismissing the fact because you either were in the belief, because you had an idea in your head, that your blood sugar looked in the normal range, which is not normal, it's in a reference range. But you guys look at the reference range and say, that's normal. It is not normal. That's not even optimal. A part of it could be, but the optimal blood sugar level is between 70 and 80 at any one time. That is about 4 grams of blood sugar in your body at any one time. So if you're a normal human being with 5 liters of blood in you, you have about a teaspoon of sugar in your blood at any one time. Unless, of course, you're eating a ton of carbohydrates and you're eating often, then you're going to have much more than that. And that excess that we can't take care of, the cells can't take care of them, the muscle cells, all of the cells in our body can't take care of it. The excess goes to the liver. It's converted to fructose by the polyol system. Fructose elevates uric acid. Uric acid stimulates, or actually it blocks, the synthase enzyme that makes nitric oxide. Now let's circle back. Where and what the heck does salt do to our body? that causes high blood pressure? I'm so glad you asked. It activates the polyol system. So salt activates that liver pathway that converts glucose to fructose. Now, if there's no glucose and no fructose, salt doesn't need to stimulate that pathway. Isn't it brilliant? I mean, are you guys like, I am. I mean, that's what gets me. But how many of you, did you ever ask your doctor, how does that salt thing work? How's that working? Well, it just does. So you just got to limit your salt to 2 grams. I think it was like 2,000 milligrams, wasn't it? No more than, no more than that, and we'll be safe. But how about I talk about one other mechanism about how high blood, okay, is resulting from something we're doing. So not only does the excess glucose or the carbs go to the liver, make fructose and raise uric acid and cause blood pressure problems, but what about insulin itself? What if when we consume carbohydrates, that increases our blood sugar level, which increases our insulin level, and insulin causes salt and water retention? Did the doctor tell you about that? Because if you retain salt and water, guess what happens to your blood pressure? It goes up. And you also retain. Push on your legs, push on your lower legs, see if they dent. Use your thumb, push quite hard. You don't want to be a wimp. It's going to hurt. It does hurt. I've done it to people. Not because I want to hurt them. I just want to show them how much fluid they're holding in their lower extremities. And then I check an insulin level. And I say, sure as heck, it's elevated. It's over 5, 6. It's over 5 or 6. And I say, you're retaining water. Well, how do I get rid of the water? Can you give me a water pill? Well, I sure could. But that's going to mess with your electrolytes. And guess what it's going to do? It's going to elevate uric acid. Some of them elevate uric acid. What does uric acid do? Decreases nitric oxide production. And nitric oxide production, when it's low, we get vasoconstriction, which is high blood pressure again. I know it sounds confusing because you've never been taught. You've never been taught. I want to talk just a little bit about Lucy here. Lucy is doing chemotherapy. She's obviously got cancer. She says she's feeling good. She's having some crappy side effects, but life is good. She's eating a lot of fat. She's carnivore. She's in carnivore bliss. She's sipping some coffee with butter, and she's taking notes, and she says hello to my mom over there on Facebook. So thank you, Lucy, for joining, and thanks for the update. And you guys, if you're a praying person, please pray for Lucy. So for quick healing, get rid of this multiple myeloma that she has, and yeah, let's get her going with her life again. Not that she's a positive person, but let's just pray for her if you can. So does anyone have questions on this mechanism of high blood pressure and how it's, how it starts? And, I could talk a little bit about alcohol. Alcohol also raises uric acid. So we got medications, we got fructose, we got alcohol. All of these things can elevate uric acid. When uric acid levels are elevated, you can almost guess, you can bet your bottom dollar that fructose is elevated as well. Fructose is elevated for 2 reasons. You either consume it through fruit or high fructose corn syrup, which is in processed foods. But it's the excess glucose that you have in your body from overconsumption of carbohydrates or any consumption of carbohydrates. And the excess glucose goes to the liver and is converted to fructose. Fructose is a naughty player. He's causing a lot of damage in our body. And I don't think that doctors are, 1, that they know, and 2, if they know, I don't think they're teaching the patients. So we could, instead of taking these great medications like ACE inhibitors and ARBs and the Bistolics of the world, Nebivolol. We're doing that to increase nitric oxide. But why don't we just stop consuming what is decreasing the nitric oxide? I mean, it sounds really, really easy, but this has been my goal of teaching. It's a lot about diet. And, there's going to be a lot of controversy. And there's going to be so much to learn. All these mechanisms in our body, they're all related, but there's a lot of them. In fact, by tomorrow, you'll probably forget what the polyol system does or pathway does in the liver. You might not even remember that it's in the liver. And you don't necessarily need to be the doctor, but you could just say like this: hey, I heard that fructose can raise our blood pressure. Now, if the person asks why, you could say, well, it blocks an enzyme or a molecule in our body that helps to vasodilate our blood vessels. And that is nitric oxide. I'm glad you asked. Oh, well, I'm just taking some nitric oxide. Well, instead of just wasting your money on buying nitric oxide, which we don't even know if it's real. And if you guys want to learn a lot about nitric oxide, go to Dr. Brian, I think it's Bryan, Nathan Bryan. Dr. Nathan Bryan. He's like a nitric oxide guru. A lot of his stuff is really, really great. But guess what? He doesn't promote a low-carb diet. Not at all. In fact, he's into the just eat real food. Just eat some. So this is how he can sell he sells a nitric oxide product. Do you think that he's going to tell you guys to stop eating carbohydrates, which lowers your glucose and your fructose, which lowers uric acid, which allows nitric oxide to be produced? I don't think he's going to tell you that. He's going to say, hey, you guys, you should be eating real food and get some fiber and do all these things and eat your fruits and your vegetables and get lots of meat and some butter too. Eat your fruits and vegetables, and if you want, splurge a little bit. Go ahead and, it's okay if once a week or every 2 weeks you eat some pasta or some rice or some bread. It's not going to hurt you if it's just once. I don't know what he says, but I've watched him. I've looked at him. I don't think that he is a carnivore nor a ketovore. I don't think so. I'm thinking he's full of iron too. He has iron overload. But see, that's what we do is we start. Now again, if you want to learn about nitric oxide, I'm going to pump the guy up, Dr. Nathan Bryan. You should be listening to him because he's kind of a guru when it comes to nitric oxide. The small glitch in the system that he's not telling you to refrain from eating glucose and fructose. Okay? Lisa says, it would be great to have menus to follow. I get into ruts planning for the family. That, Lisa, I cannot help you with. I am not a menu planner. I suggest that you eat meat and fat, which is butter, ghee, tallow, lard, some salt. You can have eggs. You can eat fish, but ruminant meats are going to be the most important. And then you can add around it. Some people have some ruminant meats. They'll have some shrimp. They'll have some eggs. They'll have some butter. And then they make that their meal. I am not a fancy preparer. I just eat meat, eggs, and butter. Add some salt. The salt's not my problem. The salt's not raising my blood pressure. My blood pressure's fine. But if I mix the salt with the sugar or fructose, glucose or fructose, which is sucrose, yeah, I'm going to have a blood pressure problem eventually. And when I have a blood pressure problem, I'm going to harden my arteries because they're going to get older faster because they're under pressure. And then when they're older and stiffer, they're going to get injured. And then I'm going to start building up an injury, and I'm going to make blood clots, and that's going to attract a whole bunch of debris like white blood cells and red blood cells and platelets and those nasty little small dense LDLs and macrophages and foam cells and all kinds of stuff to calcify that over like a Band-Aid until the calcification gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and then I block the artery. Then I have a heart attack, and then that part of the heart muscle dies, and then, well, hopefully they save me. They can take me to the lab, put in a stent, but if it's too blocked, then they're going to take me and we're going to do a coronary artery bypass graft, and they're going to use the veins in my legs, but they're never once going to tell me to stop eating sugar. Sucrose, glucose plus fructose. They didn't tell me to stop eating fruit. They didn't tell me to stop eating the excess glucose, which is converted to fructose, which raises uric acid level. And uric acid causes high blood pressure, and then the pressure starts all over again. So there is, Lisa, just for you, I've never even been to this channel, but on YouTube, there is a guy named Chris, and it's Chris Cooking Nashville. He cooks, he's a chef, he's a carnivore, ketovore kind of a guy. So if that interests you, Chris Cooking Nashville, I don't know him. I'm guessing he's in Nashville, Tennessee. But yeah, people rave about Chris Cooking Nashville and giving recipes for all kinds of foods. So how's that one? Lucy says, hello, everybody. Catherine, okay, got that. Got that. Yes, Lisa, many prayers for Lucy. Yeah, you're welcome, Lucy. This is your family. This is the Center Stage family. Oh, Dennis agrees. Chris has great recipes. So Dennis is over there on YouTube. And so if you guys want to look up Chris Cooking Nashville, look him up. Again, I'm not sponsored by him. I don't even know him. Cindy says, does excess weight keep your blood pressure up? Well, Cindy, I would ask you, what keeps your weight up? Let's just picture a cow. If I were a cow or an owner of a cow, the things that I'm going to give my cow to increase its weight is grains. I'm going to keep them pent up, and I'm going to give them grains. I'm going to give them carbohydrates, and they will fatten up. They will gain weight, and then they can go to slaughter much faster. I surely would not put them out to graze in the pasture. So if I had excess weight, I would lower my weight by decreasing or eliminating all the carbohydrates, which will lower blood sugar, which will lower insulin, which will drive our blood pressure down. So, does excess weight cause your blood pressure to go up? Not directly, but indirectly, because of what you eat, raising glucose, raising insulin, retaining water and salt, and increasing blood pressure. Great question, Cindy. I love it. Catherine says, 5 things to do to get off blood pressure medicines that I was put on by my doctor. 5 things. Why not just one thing? Stop carbohydrates. Lower your glucose, which lowers your insulin, which lowers your fructose, which lowers your uric acid, which lowers your blood pressure. Bull Taurus says, I've lost over 150 pounds and can't seem to keep my blood pressure in the normal range. When I was hospitalized last year, my blood pressure was normal and sometimes a little too low. What's too low? You say, I can't seem to keep my blood pressure in the normal range. So 1, what is normal range? 2, you can't seem to keep it in the normal range, whatever that is. Is it too high or too low? Or is it lower than what your normal range is? Or is it higher than what your normal range is? Okay? Oh, that's another thing, you guys, Lisa brings up. You know, a lot of times you guys were taught not only to eliminate salt, but then if you do use salt, to use good salt. And good salt refers to like sea salt, like natural mineral salts. So you thought, well, if I just change from table salt to mineral salt, my blood pressure would get better. in all reality, yes, that is a good choice to change from table salt, which is bleached and yeah, all of that, unnatural. Your blood pressure is going to drop. It may not, because the other things that you're doing is increasing your insulin level and your fructose level and your uric acid level. And all of that is leading to high blood pressure. Now, what if your sodium levels are low? Why are they low? Do you have diabetes? What's your insulin level do? Remember I talked about, it was probably maybe 2-3 weeks ago, I was talking about where sodium is in our body, where potassium is in our body, where's magnesium, where's chloride. When one goes up, another goes down. But remember, there's a sodium-potassium pump. Sodium is usually outside the cell, and potassium is usually inside the cell. So if you're hyponatremic, low sodium, why? What's your insulin level? Are you a diabetic? Insulin is playing havoc. So the fact that you're just going to be told, in this case, Lisa says her dad was told to drink some V8 juice of vegetables and some other stuff. Who knows what is in there? But it's just mashed up vegetables and sodium. Sodium is different from salt. Look them up. Why would you tell somebody to eat some smushed up vegetables in order to raise salt? Why not just take some salt? Why would you get all of the sugar and the oxalates and the phytates and all of the other things that are chemicals in V8 juice? I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. Lisa says that her dad's potassium is high. She thinks it's from Entresto. Entresto is for heart failure. Entresto is a combination medicine with an ARB and something else. I don't even remember. I think I have like 2 patients on Entresto. Can we fix heart failure without taking medications? Of course we can. It might be too late. Who knows? But why don't you try? I don't know. It seems easier just to take the medicine. I mean, who wants to stop eating carbohydrates so you can lower this blood sugar, which lowers the insulin, which takes the strain off of retaining salt and water, which causes high blood pressure, which leads to heart failure? Whew. There's a lot, you guys. But it all seems to go back to that one silly thing that we consume every single day. Sugar. Stop the sugar and we solve a lot of things. I don't know, maybe that's just way too easy. Way too easy. JCat asks, what are the symptoms of iron overload? Oh my gosh, where do I begin? I mean, an overload of anything is going to mess with our system. Anywhere. Our kidneys working, our eyeballs working, our liver working, our skin working. Iron overload is, for the most part, an iron that we can't absorb. It is free or unbound iron that becomes a problem. If it's in our brain, it can cause brain fog or dementias. If it's in our thyroid, it can cause problems with our thyroid not working, hypo or hyper. If it's in our kidneys, it decreases kidney function. What if it's in our liver? All the processes that our liver does, yeah, it's affected. So the symptoms are immeasurable. And it's the same with sugar, okay? And high sugar and insulin resistance goes along with iron overload. All of these things are causing inflammation. Inflammation is kind of the harbinger of all of these things. That's why you get heart attacks. That's why we get kidney disease. That's why we get dementias and everywhere a blood vessel goes. So iron overload is usually an unbound non-heme iron that we can't absorb and use. It's just, and we're getting it from our diet. Of course we're getting it from our diet. It's in every plant. plant foods give us non-heme iron. And unfortunately, say, well, can't you just convert it to heme iron, which is the usable form? That's what you taught us, right? The heme is the usable form. I mean, at least 30% is absorbed. Well, that is true, but can you, where was I? I just lost my train of thought. Oh, can you convert non-heme iron to heme iron? Not readily. You need a little helper. The non-heme iron would rather just stay unbound and cause havoc in all of our body, but we don't know it because it's been building up slowly for decades. And then we start figuring it out about the age of, again, young people are got it too, but you guys are my age. We're just now starting to figure it out. Oh my gosh. My brain doesn't work like it used to. My eyeballs are I just can't see like I used to. Yep, Dr. Jensen, I thought you said that was from glycation. I did. That's one mechanism. Do you see how all of these mechanisms can cause havoc in our body? I can't all blame it on iron overload, or all on glucose, or all on uric acid, or all of the, overload of water, whatever it is, heavy metals, smoking, alcohol. I can go on and on, nanoplastics or microplastics. It's just, there's so much, but that's what's fun about education. It's what's really fun about learning new things. And yes, when I'm learning and I'm reading, oh my gosh, the amount of information that goes in, I can just hear you guys. You're sitting back, you're in your recliner, and then you just keep slapping your head. Like, I can't follow her. I don't know exactly what she's saying, because one day she's talking about this causing this, and then the next time she says it's this causing that, and I'm going, she just changes her mind. I said, not really. It's just in addition to. Just like in addition to elevated fructose in our body, elevating uric acid, which raises blood pressure, glucose can raise insulin and raise blood pressure. Salt in the presence of carbohydrates, sugar, fructose, or glucose can raise blood pressure. There's a lot of different, what if you got, ADH, high ADH, antidiuretic hormone? What if you guys, it's unbelievable how God made us he made so many pathways, so many processes, biologic, physiologic, all these chemical processes in our body is perfect. And it all can be messed up so easily. But he made it so he was trying to allow our body to fix it. But you see, because we don't see immediate results of harm, we'll do it for decades. And then it finally it spills over. It's like the glass is filling up with water, and then all of a sudden it starts spilling over and all of the symptoms come. And it's usually around, say 40 years old or 50 years old, we're starting to see all the ramifications. And you guys just say, oh, you know what? It's just a part of normal aging. But it's not. And no, you can't take back what you did, but can you reverse things? Yes. You were told probably, and I remember patients telling me this, once I get on a blood pressure medicine, I can't get off. You were under the impression that the minute you took a blood pressure medicine, you'll never be able to get off of it. Well, that's true. Not because the blood pressure medicine is addicting, is because the person, the doctor or the provider, never told you why you were on a blood pressure medicine in the first place. So if you just actually stopped what you were doing, usually eating carbohydrates, drinking alcohol, smoking, in the presence of heavy metals in the air, and breathing nanoplastics. But you could have helped a few of those things. Don't drink the water, get filtered water, right? Don't smoke. Stop eating carbohydrates. There's no essential carbohydrates. We need them. We need them to survive. No, you don't. Name one essential carbohydrate. Just one. Sugar. No. Not one. That isn't one. Our body makes it. Just enough. You will survive. So you're just addicted to sugar. So you need, instead of 4 grams a day, you need 30 grams swimming around in your blood at any one time. It's your choice. Okay? So, JCat, I'm sorry if I can't answer completely what all of the, all of the symptoms of iron overload is. But, I'm guessing, I'm almost pretty sure that JCat is already on glucoferrin. And glucoferrin is going to bind up all of your unbound iron. It's going to improve the regulation of iron in your body. Because most people, I don't want to simply say that you have non-heme iron overload. That is true. But your regulation of the iron is way off. Just like in a diabetic, your regulation of blood sugars is way off. You're insulin resistant. Well, you're kind of iron resistant. You have dysregulation of your iron in iron overload. Your body can't use some of the iron that it has. So it's kind of like it can't use some of the overload of glucose you have because the cells are shutting their doors. Is insulin resistance and iron overload related? Absolutely. Does glucoferrin help cause or improve dysregulation by regulating iron and getting it all smoothed out? Yes. Does glucoferrin help with our blood sugars? Yes. But if we continue to overdose on non-heme iron through plants and, as Dennis mentioned on YouTube, cast iron pans, you're getting more, also synthetic vitamins, you're getting more non-heme iron than you could possibly know what to do with. And then you're eating all of this sugar. You didn't stop. You're just going to rely on glucoferrin, just like you relied on metformin and Synjardy and insulin and all of the diabetes medicine. You're just relying on it. When if you would just stop eating the carbohydrates, which are fortified with non-heme iron, right? You are going to decrease these things. And then glucoferrin is going to fix the defects. By the way, they just had their 2-year anniversary that it came to market, which is really kind of cool. I haven't been around that long to know about glucoferrin coming out, when it came out. I think I was 1.5 years into, maybe not quite that. It was at least a year into learning about glucoferrin. And I'm still learning about glucoferrin. I'm not an expert because I'm not an expert at anything. I'm just here to try to provide you with information. This is not medical advice. Despite what you think, I'm a doctor. Yes, I went to medical school. I went to residency. I have done, I'm board certified. I've done all those things, yet I don't know it all. And some of the things that I might know, there's a possibility it could be wrong. And what you need to do is check me on it. Because if I'm wrong, then the things I'm reading is wrong. And I've been wrong so many times. So many times. I admit it. Some of those things I've changed. I truly, truly, truly believed that LDL was the cause of coronary artery disease. And if we lowered LDL, we would prevent heart attacks. My dad had vascular disease in his heart, 5 of them, completely blocked. And I wonder how that happened because he was on a statin. His cholesterol, his LDL was very low. I remember the doctor praising him. Hey, Wayno, they called him Wayne. Wayne, your cholesterol's perfect. Was it that perfect that it prevented him to have 5-vessel coronary blockages? No. How about that Parkinson's? Nope. So I still didn't at that time correlate the fact. I just thought, oh, my dad was unlucky. Maybe we just didn't start the statin early enough. Maybe it just all blocked up over the years. That darn LDL, we just couldn't do anything. Because statins don't cause plaque regression. Statins don't cause regression of the plaque. Oh, they didn't tell you that? No, what you got, you're probably going to live with, and it's going to go up. Why is that? Because statins increase it. Statins increase calcium plaque. So does aging. So does blood pressure and smoking and high sugar and nanoplastics and heavy metals. You're saying you're doomed? Not really. I think, one of the biggest fallacies that people were taught, and it's kind of true, but not really true at all. It's this. You've heard it. In fact, you probably heard it about 5 years ago. And, I picture these people doing this. They go, watch the stone. Watch the stone. If you take this, you will not get this, and you will not die. Take it and you won't die. Take it and it will never spread. Just take this and you won't die. Well, as a matter of fact, I do not have to be a doctor to tell you that you will die. You are going to die. Everybody is going to die. The question is, where are you going when you die? Okay? Now, a Christian who believes in Jesus as their Savior will say, the wages of sin is death. If I accept Jesus as my Savior, he's gonna take all of those sins from me. He's going to die in my place. So I'm going to heaven. Heaven. Okay? But for me, as a Christian who believes in Jesus as my Savior, will say to be absent from the body, death, is to be present with the Lord, life. I might die once, but I'm not going to keep dying. I might not even have an earthly death. I mean, what if Jesus comes back before that? What if he comes back before I die or you die and we go to the clouds with Jesus on the day of rapture alive? I wonder this. I wonder if I'm going to get a new body still. Am I going to go back to like teenager? Will I don't know what disease I have right now, but will the disease be gone? A perfect body. Maybe I'll be 33. I mean, I only have to lose 1 year. I'm teasing. Okay. I got off on a tangent. Bull Taurus says now it's 125 to 150, her blood pressure, over 70 to 90. Okay. So is that a problem? I don't even know what you're eating. Brahma Bull Taurus, if you would like to consult with me in regards to your labs, your blood pressure, your cholesterol, all of these things, that's what I do. That is my job. I do video consultations with you to help you, give you information in regards to the things that are going on in your health. And then you have enough information you can take back to your PCP if you want and discuss it with them if they will. Okay? But answering these like little questions is very difficult. And I'll do the best I can, but there's so much more information that I would need from you in order to give you at least some information that would be relevant. How about that? So if you would like to consult with me, email me at ironladydoc@aol.com. ironladydoc@aol.com. Okay? I'm bringing AOL back. I am going to make AOL so famous. Some of you got AOL accounts. Then I know you're about the time you got I have a Gmail account. I never use it. I don't think I ever had a Yahoo account or an MSN account or an iCloud account or any of those other accounts. No, I want to stick with AOL and bring them back and make them famous, along with all of my other AOL people. Funny, right? Marnie says, going keto or carnivore actually makes meal planning easy. You keep things simple. That's right. Just eat meat, butter, and eggs. It is so simple. I eat the exact same things every single day, sometimes twice a day, the exact same meal over and over again. I might cook it a little different, like I might scramble the eggs instead of fry them. I might have beef one time, lamb and eggs, deer and eggs. Oh my God. From one of my birthday presents was a sack full of deer meat. It's almost gone. He just brought it to me like 2 days ago. Steaks. Oh my goodness, are they good? So tender. You know, they're in filet medallions. Oh my gosh. I know you're probably going, I can't eat deer, Dr. Jensen. It's just so wild. You get used to it. What about lamb and sheep and bison and elk and buffalo? All of these things, they are so good for us. Such great sources of heme iron, the usable heme iron. Okay? Remember, don't use cast iron pans. Dennis over there on YouTube is trying to remind me. Do not use them, right, Dennis? Right on. Okay? He says get stainless steel. And I think Dennis has told me in the past that he uses Made In. That's the brand, Made In. There's also one called Ironclad, I think. Something like that. There's multiple brands. But Made In is a pretty well-respected brand for stainless steel cookware. Okay? And yes, he tells you can still get a great sear on your meats. So thank you, Marnie. I agree that, yes, cooking carnivore or ketovore is very easy. It's so simple. Stick with the ruminant meats. They are animals that have multi-chambered stomachs, and they can take care of all the things that they're consuming, they're eating. All right? Bull Taurus says, I do intermittent fasting, sometimes 24 to 72 hour water fasts. Good. Lucy says she's back over on Instagram. I don't like YouTube on the phone. It's better on the desktop. Okay, thank you. Dennis, are you listening to... Dennis is joking around with me because he knows me, because I was telling about AOL just now, and then you know what he says? He goes, why don't you just go back to dial-up as well? Because that's when I got my AOL account. It was dial-up. Do you guys remember that? It was like it was somewhere between 95. I think it was somewhere between 95 and 98. Is that true, you guys? And when you put the dial-up, so you would connect, you would turn your computer on, that would take forever. It was almost like one of those tube TVs. You remember a tube TV, right? The tube in the TV, and you turn the switch, and then a little white dot in the middle of the TV would start getting wider and wider and wider, and then all of a sudden you would see your picture. I grew up with a black and white TV. We grew up, and it was always snowing. We didn't have summer. I'm joking. We did have summer, but we had a lot of snow, and we didn't have bathrooms. We had to go outside. I'm kidding again. I'm not telling you how old I am, but I'm telling you that we had a tube TV for much of my formative years growing up, like until high school? Right, high school. And then when I went to college, I took the only color TV that we had. My dad, he loved me so much. He adored me. He gave me the only, and that sucker was heavy. He kept the black and white TV, the tube TV that starts with a little dot in the middle, and then it goes, and then you see a picture. Yeah, it was back in the days of Lassie. My Three Sons, Leave It to Beaver. So when you're watching black and white, you don't notice if it's black and white when it's, right? Even when you're watching color, it was still black and white. So why have a color TV? Because all you watched was black and white. Ruth says, the tube TV was a huge piece of furniture. Actually, ours wasn't that big. It might have been 24 inches. We didn't have one of those console that looked like it was inside with the stereo case and all that. No, we didn't have one of those. But those were tube TVs too. I remember those. I think my grandma had one. I don't know. Anyway, dial-up on the computer was back in like the olden days and the antiquish days. where you would turn your computer on, you'd wait for that to start, and then you would hear this dial tone, and it was trying to sign on. And that could take 5 minutes. But you didn't know any different. You just thought, oh my gosh, I have a computer. And an AOL account, and you can send emails. In fact, there was AOL Messenger, and you could be like texting people. I don't know if you guys remember all of this stuff. I mean, it was only like yesterday for me. Okay. So Lucy says, my mom, enough of that, Dennis, over there. You're an old man, so quit it. I can tell them all about your old man stuff. Lucy says, so my mom had uric acid levels high. The doctor told her to stop eating meat. Right. Because that doctor was told, right? He was told that meats have purines, and purines form uric acid. He didn't know about the plants having more purines or fructose making uric acid. He didn't know any of that stuff. So he, in his small little ignorosis brain, a condition, osis, of ignorance, right? It just means he's not trying to go outside the box. Kind of like me. Don't eat meat. We were all there one day. Some of us get out of the matrix and we start learning. We read books. We listen to people on YouTube and Instagram, and we learn, and we go and check it out. Like, is that true? Like one guy today says, I did my uric acid reel and fructose reel, and he comes back and says, wow, interesting. It's kind of like how calmodulin decreases nitric oxide production. I'm going, calmodulin? Calmodulin. I got to go look it up. He was exactly right. Calmodulin and nitric oxide synthetase. They're related. I'm learning still. But if your mom's doctor never jumps out of the matrix and goes to look something up, in fact, all of the derogatory comments that people bring up to me, it hurts my feelings. It breaks my heart that you have to be like that. But this guy, he was so nice. He just said, hey, it kind of sounds like calmodulin does the exact same thing. And it got me to look it up. And now I can talk about, once I get a grip on what calmodulin is, again, it has to do with calcium receptors and channels and all of that right now. You do not need to know. But it was just interesting that he wanted to help me, I think he did, learn something. But not how these other people do it. You're wrong. You went to medical school. You're not a doctor. You're a DO. You're dumb. You're ignorant. You're this. Well, I'd rather be ignorant, because that just means I didn't take the time to go look up something. It wasn't that I was really stupid with a low IQ and couldn't figure anything out. No, it's just that I was lazy and didn't go look. So in a way, they were right. But do you have to say it like that? Do you have to be so mean? Do you have to defeat my credentials? I could be the garbage man and know all this information. Does it even matter if I went to medical school? And most of you listening to me would say, I wish she wouldn't have went to medical school. It wouldn't have taken her 25 years to get unindoctrinated. And she could have been a really great doctor 15 years ago. Instead of waiting till 25 years into it, well, it was more than that. It was probably not quite that much. I bet by about my 23rd year, so about 4 years ago, I was starting to wake up. This has been a 4-year process. And only 2 of these years, June 25th, it'll be 2 years, that I've been sharing what I learned with you. So we're learning this together. I'm only a little, some of you started, like Dom's mom, she was my first listener on Instagram, my first follower. Dom's mom, she's still with me to this day. She prays for me. She still sends me little notes and says, thank you for everything you do. I'm trying to spread the word. I'm trying to give you more people or have them listen because you're a great teacher. I'm not a great teacher. I just love to teach. And I try to put it in such simple ways that you could possibly understand it and maybe share it with somebody else. But it's hard. Like I went through that whole fructose thing. Like, yeah, I mean, that's complicated stuff. All these pathways and all that. But it's not enough for you to share with your family or your coworker or the neighbor or your best friend. It is not enough to say this. You know, you really shouldn't eat fructose. You're going to get high blood pressure. You know, you really shouldn't eat fructose. You're going to get fatty liver disease. That goes in one ear and out the other. It does. It does. Let me explain my example of how it went in one ear and out the other for years. Here's how it went. I had patients who said, Dr. Jensen, LDL does not cause coronary artery disease. They just kept saying it. It went in as fast as could be. And then, but they kept doing it. They kept saying that. Dr. Jensen, I think you're wrong. LDL is not the cause of coronary artery disease. Okay. Okay. Thank you. And they'll say, hey, would you like to take a statin? No, I would not. Oh, okay. Can I document that in your chart? Yes, you may. Oh, okay. Great. What else do you want to talk about today? Dr. Jensen, why is it that you think that LDL is the cause of coronary artery disease? Dr. J's answer, studies show that. Patient's answer or question back, Dr. Jensen, where are the studies? Well, I don't know, but I can go look them up. And Dr. Jensen, while you're at it, can you see who did the study? Like, who performed the study? And if you find out who did the study, can you also find out who they worked for? And then, Dr. Jensen, when you find out who they worked for, can you see what stock they purchased? Because I think it's all going to be related. And Dr. Jensen, while you're looking for all that, can I give you a book to read? Can I give you 7 books to read? Yeah. It took I don't know, 3-4 years of them just gnawing at me. And fortunately for them, that I actually kind of liked them. And I laughed and giggled, and we all laughed and giggled together. But you see, even though they could show me all these things, I looked at them and said, but you already have coronary artery disease. Your diet is not working. You need to get rid of the LDL so you don't have a heart attack. Because if you walk out this door and you have a heart attack in my parking lot, don't say that I didn't tell you so. I mean, that's how I said it. Not I told you so. Not that, well, if you don't take this, you're going to have a heart attack. Wait, well, watch this. Watch this. Oh, you guys that are listening, I'm sorry you can't see this, but I'm going to dangle a rock in front of you, and I'm going to whisper, take this, and you won't die. If you hear that, you better run. 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 I can't even go so far as to say this one. If you don't eat carbohydrates, you won't have a heart attack. If you don't eat carbohydrates, you're not going to have high blood pressure. You're not going to have Parkinson's disease or dementia. No. What I could say is that we are going to perhaps slow the progression down of your disease that you've already developed for decades of life. The same goes for the plaquing. Did the LDL cause the plaque? Depends on who you listen to. I used to believe that. I do not anymore. That is why it is still a hypothesis. It's called the diet heart hypothesis, the lipid heart hypothesis, the cholesterol heart hypothesis. It's still a hypothesis. It is not a theory. Yet people will act as if the science is done. Science is never done. It is never completed. It is always changing. So you can think up an idea, you can form a hypothesis, you can test the hypothesis, but how do you trust the people doing it? There's Lion. Lion, thanks for joining me over on YouTube. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. Yeah. Send it, share it, click it, like it, do all. If you are on YouTube right now, please click that thumbs up button. And if you are on Instagram, I think it's a heart button. And if you are on Facebook, please click the thumbs up button. Share it on your timeline. Share me on your timeline on Instagram. Just push that little carrot button. I know, Lucy, it's an airplane. I'm still going to call it a carrot because he looks like a carrot to me. I know that Lucy says it is a airplane with wings and the male going whatever way you're doing it, but I like the carrot. He's a carrot, my little carrot guy, okay? So I'm gonna call him a carrot. So hit the carrot and share it to your story or all of your friends in your whatevers. I'm sure that is Lucy sending me all those hearts right now because she thinks I'm funny. Chat with Lucy says, my skin muscle is atrophying fast. I'm told to lift weights. Any thoughts? Daily, I'll be in the hospital in quarantine 2 weeks, and get this, they have a gym for us quarantine folks. Okay, your skin and muscle is atrophying. Your skin isn't so much atrophying. It is shrinking. It's losing its hydration. And because it's not has a lot of muscle, that muscle is atrophying, and the skin that was staying full around it kind of gets like a little loosey-goosey bag. Yes, lifting weights is important. Staying hydrated is important, okay? And so, yes, you're supposed to lift weights. Muscle is the organ of longevity, Lucy. More muscle, longevity. You increase your risk of living longer by having more muscle. You increase your longevity by keeping your glucose levels low, your fructose levels 0. That's possible. Because remember, glucose, well, if it's low, then you're not going to convert to glucose. Okay, yeah. Low glucose or no glucose, just enough what your body makes, and no fructose. So that eliminates about everything. And then I tell you not to eat plants, and then we're golden. If I just tell you not to eat plants, the only thing you can eat is animals. Truth. So when you're looking at something and you're deciding whether or not to eat it or not, and you want to know if you should eat it or not, just go, does it come from an animal or a plant? Now, I did ask this question to a little kid in my office one day. And they said, can you eat eggs? And my question was, does it come from an animal or a plant? And they looked at me, and then they looked at Mom, and then they said the next best thing. I don't know. I don't know. So it was an education opportunity for me. It comes from a chicken, and a chicken is and then they said it, animal. So now you have your answer. Where do eggs come from? Animals, Dr. Jensen. Yes, animals. An animal. Okay? So Lucy, oh, I got this question yesterday. This is Joel. He's a smart aleck. Joel is going to say, honey comes from a bee, which is an animal. Not really. It's an insect. And honey is just sugar. So should we eat sugar? No. What is a honeycomb? Is that an animal? No. Animal. A mammal. An animal. A fish. A pig. Okay. So no honey. Honey is fructose. Honey is pure fructose. And fructose causes fatty liver. And fructose stimulates uric acid production. And uric acid production, what? Causes gout? Yeah, I know. What does it do to blood pressure? Yep, raises it. Why? Because nitric oxide blocks nitric oxide. So see, uric acid blocks nitric oxide production. Nitric oxide is needed for, one thing is vasodilatation of our arteries. Widening them out lowers our blood pressure. Okay. Diego says, I did my 120-day blood draw this week. Results should be back next week, and then I'll reach out to you for our next consult. So Diego is somebody who routinely is getting their blood work and consulting with me, and we go over them. Do they only consult with me? Likely not. They are a person who's in constant education mode. They want to learn from me. They want to learn from this person and that person, and they enjoy that. So they're going to get a little information from me, and they might have a little added information from somebody else, and it's a beautiful thing. They're in constant learning, gathering knowledge mode. Okay? And so I do consults with you guys upon request. And right now, my fee is $100 per hour. On June 21st, which is the first day of summer, and my Tootie girl's birthday, Tootie girl, turns, let's see, is she 6? She'll be 6. She'll be 6? Oh my gosh. She was born in 2019. She'll be 7. She'll be 7. She'll be 6. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it's Tootie Girl's birthday on June 21st, which is the first day of summer, and I'm going to go to 110. I've been announcing this for a while now, $110 an hour, okay? It'll be a little confusing when I have to divide out the minutes and all of that, because I do not upcharge and I do not downcharge. I go exact. And then I tell you first, I'm going to do this. I'm going to charge your card this amount. Is that okay? Well, yes, Dr. Jensen, it's going to be okay, but what were you going to do if I say it's not okay? Well, I guess I just wasted an hour of my time. I had a lady yesterday tell me, Dr. Jensen, you're so honest. Why do you have to be so honest? I said, honesty is the best policy. Honesty is the best policy. Just be honest with people. Okay. JCat says, if I'm guessing if I have low ferritin, is it okay to take glucoferrin? JCat, I don't think that there is ever a time you cannot take glucoferrin. There is no contraindications to glucoferrin. How can that be? Well, unless glucoferrin is poison and it's not really what he says it is, the owner, the maker, which I'm doubtful of, I don't think he's going to put flour in a capsule. Because that would be impossible, because I'm seeing results on labs in the positive. But glucoferrin, if you could just picture how perfect mammal's breast milk is, this is breast milk. Look around at everybody selling or people buying breast milk online. You say, oh, that's gross. Well, what if it's bovine breast milk? What if it's like utter squeeze into a jar? That's breast milk, isn't it? You're drinking it, you're buying it. But what about human breast milk? Yes, people are doing that too. Believe it or not. Breast milk is lactoferrin. And the first part of lactoferrin is colostrum. The first squeeze out, yeah, that's colostrum. And I know you guys have heard of colostrum. It's going like wildfire. It's kind of like collagen. Everybody's buying collagen. Now everybody's buying colostrum. Pretty soon everybody will be buying breast milk. Well, they will. They're going to be buying glucoferrin. And it's going to be some $1 trillion investment. And it's going to go public. And then you guys are all going to, and then everybody, 350 million people in the United States are going to buy glucoferrin. And then it's 7 billion people in the United States are going to be on glucoferrin. I don't know. Sounds like a wonderful thing for Mr. Glucoferrin, Mr. Iron Man, but yeah, there's nothing wrong with taking glucoferrin. Yes, it's okay to take glucoferrin in any case. It's okay to drink breast milk. Now, let me clarify something that God did. He made women with breasts. Imagine that. But he only made enough lactose in our body, lactase. Okay, let me rewind. In order to break down lactose, which is the sugar of milk, we need lactase enzyme. ACE is an enzyme. So we need lactase. It just so happens that about after the age of 5, we don't produce any more lactase enzyme. Now, some people will have symptoms after drinking milk or eating dairy because the sugar, lactose, is causing them GI, gastrointestinal upset and inflammation. So God says, well, I never suggested that you continue to drink milk after the age of 5. I wanted you to start eating the fish in the sea and the birds in the air and the creepy crawlies on the ground and the cows, right? Because he knew that we couldn't subsist on just drinking milk. But the times that we're drinking milk, we're bonding with mom, and mom is bonding with us, and we're developing a family. And every nutrient that baby needs is from breast milk. And so if we could go back in time and take lactoferrin again, would we have as many diseases as we have now? Likely not. Likely not. We would be so healthy. Maybe we wouldn't. Maybe we would continue to eat so much sugar and seed oils that we've destroyed ourselves anyway. But lactoferrin and colostrum, the first part of the lactoferrin, was very important to us, or should be very important to any baby newborn. Everybody should breastfeed. So what did Peter, Mr. Iron Man, Mr. Glucoferrin, I call him, what did he do? How did he make this glucoferrin? Well, he won't tell me that part. But why? Why did he make it in the first place? Well, he knew the importance of the golden honey, God's glory, milk, breast milk. But he learned that lactoferrin has iron in it, iron. And so if you develop APO lactoferrin, the iron is removed. And that leaves it open to bind to iron that's in your body. The stuff that was way overboard, yep, that unbound loosey-goosey iron swimming around in your body, getting into the tissues and your eyeballs and your skin and your heart and your thyroid and your kidneys and liver and all that stuff, right? And he did something really fancy with his jazzed up apolilactoferrin. He put some chromium in it. Chromium is like a magnet for heavy metals. And iron, right? It was like, suck it out. Okay? But, there are people who try to replicate Mr. Iron Man's glucoferrin. They are. I didn't even know it. But you can look it up. Just look up glucoferrin on Amazon. It's not Mr. Iron Man's glucoferrin. It's somebody else's. Or it might be lactoferrin. Or it might be even apolilactoferrin. It's being sold. But do they have a patent on it? No. Does Iron Man? Yes. Is those people spending $1 million trying to get the perfect sequence of amino acids that are bound by sulfur? So amino acid, sulfur, amino acid. Why do we need sulfur? Oh, I'm glad you asked. Sulfur is like a disinfectant. It'll kill viruses, bacteria, parasites, fungus, all of it. Glucoferrin, sulfur bonded amino acids in the perfect sequence with chromium. Oh my gosh. It sounds like the most beautiful thing in the world. Maybe it is. We shall only see. We have some people like right now talking about it. Hey, Diego just told us he's been on glucoferrin for almost 2 cycles. So 6 months, 2 cycles. He's going to see how they're doing. How's his iron? He's also gone carnivore. So the combination of a carnivore plus a glucoferrin, all we can do is watch and see. I joke with Diego that he's going to start growing hair back. He says, oh no, that means I'm going to have to cut it. And yeah, I mean, I do joke around. We'll see. I do know that I saw Iron Man sent me the first, basically the glucopharen baby. And the first thing I noticed, so when we deliver babies, you know, sometimes they'll have hair on their head and sometimes they just come out bald and they just don't have any hair. But this baby, I joke around, you know, like Kelly Ripa's husband, Mateo, Mark, you know, his hair is all thick and black. Yeah, this baby came out and I saw the picture of the baby. It had like Mateo hair, big black fuzzy black hair. It looked like it had a whole head of hair. It looked like it was about 5 years old. It was just a little newborn with a full head of hair. And you know what Iron Man said? That's my first glucopharen baby. Look at the hair. I said, yeah, I noticed. That's a lucky kid. Anyway. Jennifer, Mrs. Diego says, I have had several U.S. doctors tell me to never get off my blood pressure meds because the medicine will stop me from having a stroke or heart attack. Well, so we're going to just take blood pressure medicines and we're going to lower your blood pressure because you, Jennifer, are also carnivore. So your insulin's going to go down and so is your water retention and your salt retention and your blood pressure is going to drop. And if you stay on your blood pressure medicine, you're going to pass out. Or there's a potential to pass out. I don't think your doctor would really want to do that, but they didn't know the concept of carnivore. Maybe, and you didn't even tell them that you were carnivore. But I think that you should just monitor your blood pressure and see where it's at. And then if you could say, you don't even have to mention the carnivore thing. You'd say, Dr. Jensen, or doctor, whoever it is, my blood pressure is like 80/60 and I'm getting a little dizzy and I feel like I'm going to pass out. And they'll go, oh, I think you should stop your blood pressure medicine. Or let's cut it in half. Or whatever. Yeah. They don't have time to ask you enough questions. Penny says, if we drink filtered water, are we missing needed minerals? It depends on how filtered you drink it. If it's reverse osmosis, everything is stripped out. Everything. Yes, you might want to get some trace minerals and put a drop in your glass of water. We do need minerals. Penny says, what's the difference between colostrum and glucopharen? Colostrum is the most concentrated part of lactoferrin. It is that first initial, it even looks different. It's not as white, it's more liquidy. That's colostrum. Glucopharen, I think it uses all parts of the lactoferrin. So it's going to have some colostrum. Think if it was only this much. So if we have a bucket full of milk, colostrum would be an ounce. I don't know exactly, but I'm just trying to give you something in your head. Do you know how much colostrum it would take to make enough glucopharen that you could take 4 capsules a day? Whoa. So I believe, now do not quote me, I would be a question for Mr. Glucopharen himself, is I think that he uses all of it. He uses all of the colostrum, even the small concentrated part. And then the lactoferrin, which is removed of the iron, is apolilactoferrin. Okay. And that apolilactoferrin is perfect breast milk. Even in a mama like you or me or whatever, our amino acids aren't going to be perfect. But if we made it perfect 708 amino acids, sulfur bonded, then it's even better, or so to speak, it's even better, promoted to be better than even the best of the bestest breast milk. That's in simplistic terms. I am sure that there is a very intricately detailed explanation of your question, Penny. I just don't know it. Taurus says carnivore keto diet. Continue, Taurus, continue. Marnie says your AOL makes me laugh. It should, Marnie. That is good for you to just laugh. And that's what this is. I'm giving you some information along with a lot of entertainment. It just makes you laugh. It makes you joyful. It increases your parasympathetic tone by laughing. And then that calms you. And then that lowers your blood pressure. And it increases your nitric oxide. All of these things. Parasympathetic tone. It's like stimulating the little vagal guy, the little vagal nerve. Marnie says, is stainless steel a good way to cook steak in the oven? It can be. I don't cook steak in the oven. I just flash fry it. Boom, boom. Takes too long to get it out of put it in the oven and do all that. I want to eat. I want to eat now. Sister Marie says, I feel so bad because a year ago, I begged for some good cast iron pans and we finally got them in December. Paid a lot of money. Now I have to admit to my abyss, I made a mistake. I think you made a mistake, sister. I think. Could you have the most amazing cast iron and it does not leach into your body? It's possible. I do not know. But I have seen people who got a baseline iron level, got not just iron, but got iron, ferritin, transferrin, TIBC, iron saturation. They got all of them at a baseline, used cast iron pans, and then rechecked it in 3 months. Just see. So instead of wasting your money, get a baseline and then get one later. And then once you find out that your iron is elevated, if it is, and you have iron overload, non-heme iron, then you can just take some glucoferrin and get it all out of your body. You'll go from dysregulated to regulated of your iron. Details says, I still use my old AOL account too. It's so retro, isn't it? Details. I think it's Tom, right? I'm so bad with names. Or maybe I'm good with names. If it's right, then I'm really good with names. If it's not, then I'm really bad with names. Marnie. See, I like this. Her name's right in the front. Marnie and Jax. See, it's just right there for me to look. Marnie says, I've been using cast iron for my steaks in the oven. I use ceramic otherwise. I need to get something else instead of cast iron? I think so, Marnie. I think so. Chat with Lucy says, how about rabbit ear TV antennas and transistor pocket radios? I still have a transistor radio. And those pocket ones, oh my gosh. Lucy, did you have the little strap? And then you would hook it on your bike and you would turn it and you were so cool. This was way before boom boxes, ghetto blasters. Oh yeah, I had one of those too. And they had an antenna. I'm telling you, I was the coolest thing around. We had no money, but I had a paper route. I picked up cans because we started doing the nickel collection thing in Iowa. I would pick up cans on the side of the road. I would go door to door and say, do you have any cans? I'm trying to buy a transistor radio. I want to buy a ghetto blaster. Do you know that people would just give me their cans? They would. It was like a job for me. I would ride my bike and then I would hook it on with a rope because I couldn't carry it because, you're trying to ride your dirt bike. I had a dirt bike. It had mag wheels. I was cool. They were steel mag wheels. They weren't that plastic stuff. My bike was so heavy I couldn't jump. I couldn't do the bunny hop thing. It kept me grounded. I didn't like it so much. I couldn't do a wheelie. It was so much harder because I had steel mags. But I was not going to leave the ground, at least. And so I would put that little thing, the wrist thing, right? We still have those things, right? Little wrist things. Yes, we have those. They go on your wrist. Okay. Hey, by the way, Tucker, he's with me. He's always with me. I forgot to introduce him. This is Tucker. He's my co-host from heaven. So he's helping me out. He's right here. He is right beside me. I miss him so much. Anyway, yes, transistor radios. I got one. In case, look, SHTF, right? Transistor radios with the fancy NOAA, whatever. Yeah, but those ghetto blasters, once I got a ghetto blaster, I started small ghetto blaster, and then I advanced to the big thing. And I would be so cool. I would go to the park and we would do all our basketball people, or we'd go to the YMCA, which is right down the street. I grew up at the YMCA. Those people raised me. They did. Those people raised me. They're probably saying, oh my gosh. In fact, we just lost I don't want to say the CEO, but in my town, he was the head dude. He was, I would say, the president, the CEO, the whole manager guy. Oh, Chuck. Chuck raised me, I'm pretty sure. But he just passed away. And so part of my dreams and my life dreams faded away just with one death. I know. Let's call it 2 deaths. Tucker went first. I'm hoping Tucker and Chuck are like being dazzled by Jesus right now. But yeah, transistor radios. Oh, Lucy, riding my mag bike with the radio hooked on. That, and now I'm AOL. I'm still living in my past dreams. But yes, I had rabbit ears. My dad would turn the rabbit ears to get oh yeah. Yep. We didn't even have them on the house. We could not get up on the roof to put the antenna up there. We used rabbit ears. And then you would put tinfoil on the rabbit ears. Remember that, Lucy? Can't remember why we did that. Oh, Lucy from the other Lucy says, I trust my cast iron pans. Well, good for you. Marnie says, Lucy, the fact that you are planning to work out during chemo, this is the other Lucy, is amazing. You go, girl. You got this with God's help. And your center stage community listening in and helping and sharing prayers. Bull says, milk comes from cows. Yes, it does. It comes from any mammal. Yes, it does. Hi, Sarah. J-Cat says, oh, you have a lot of iron questions. J-Cat's asking about increasing ferritin. Take glucoferrin. Your ferritin levels will come up. But if you want to know more, talk to glucoferrin. I'm sure he can answer these questions. I'm so sorry. I just don't know enough. Sister says, I had a tremendous amount of parasites die off with glucoferrin. I'm not seeing as much now, thank God. Now I will see how these sugar cravings cease. It'll take time, Sister Marie. That sulfur-bonded amino acids will get to work, and it's going to take time. In fact, honestly, I think you're going to start noticing more in the, 2-year time period. You remember, you've been hurting yourself for decades, eating wrong food, seed oil, sugar, fructose, breathing the air, drinking the water, smoking, drinking alcohol. You've been doing it all. And you expect glucoferrin to fix it all in 6 months? It's going to be impossible. I don't want to say impossible. Mr. Glucoferrin would probably slap me in the face, punch me in the noggin. But I don't know. I'm just new to this, okay? Ruth says grapefruit lowers blood pressure by increasing nitric oxide. Does it, Ruth? I'd have to look that up. Do I want the sugar and the phytates and oxalates and tannins from the grapefruit just to get nitric oxide, when in reality, I could just stop eating sugar and let my body make its own nitric oxide from the normal endothelial cells? Why take something, a grapefruit, when my own body does it? I just got to stop all the mechanisms that block my body from making it. That's what I'm doing. Sister says, I have begun drinking farm fresh cow's milk. Is that recommended or okay to do? Well, I guess if you can, is farm fresh meaning raw or is it pasteurized? I don't know. Check and see. If you don't have problems like GI discomfort from your cow's milk and you don't mind eating all the sugar, lactose, then go for it. Lucia says, I just saw that the cows and other meats are being injected with mRNA. How sad, right? It's sad. I don't know what to say about that. I don't know what to say. I don't know why. Here's what I do know. I do know what to say. I do know what to say. We have to be more diligent on who we're buying our cows from. We're going to have to say, before we buy our cows, before we buy our meat from the farmers, we're going to have to ask this question. Do you inject with antibiotics and vaccines? Are you pasture raised or are you grain fed? We're going to have to ask these questions. How do you raise your cattle? I might have to go visit the farm, or you might have to go visit the farm. But can we trust? The farmers don't care about Lucia or you listening, Jeremy or Lucy or Dr. J, they don't care. They want money. And if they can sell and keep their animals healthy up until slaughter and feed them grain to get them fat, they're just going to give them the antibiotics and the vaccines and do the thing because they're getting paid. They don't care about the end result. They care about it's no different. You expect the farmers to be some, non-sinners, and no, they're humans. They're sinners just like us. They want to make money. They don't want to do things ethically. They don't want to wait for their cow to go out on the pasture and graze and enjoy the sun and put their feet and their hooves on the grass and ground. No, they want money and they want it fast. They want to buy a calf, raise it, 6 months later, slaughter. And they're going to keep them pent up. And they're going to feed them grain and they're going to fatten them up. And you say, oh, you people, you love the fatty meat. It's so good. It's tasty. Really? You're getting all the hormones? You're getting all the antibiotics? You're getting the mRNA if it's in there? Who are you buying it from? That's all I can say. Lucia, that's all I can say. I'm looking for questions. Okay, Marnie's saying, Lucia, look into local farmers and find those that don't do the shots. Maybe an organic farmer. There you go. Oh, Lucy's asking, how do you see, they're saying to sister, Lucy's asking sister, how are you seeing your parasites dying off? And she's curious. Okay, Chat with Lucy is thanking Lucy, the other Lucy. I still remember you reaching out to me. You're in LA. I'm closer to San Diego. Someday you guys are going to meet, aren't you? Halfway. You guys are just going to meet up. It'll be a Dr. J meetup. And then you guys can hook me in, just Instagram me, and we'll just all three do a thing. A little Dr. J meetup, a little center stage, little center stagers meetup. Okay. So the cow's milk is raw. I don't know what all those emojis are. Ice cream and cookies and wine and beer and cigarettes. Yeah. Lucy says to Lucy, I would love to meet up halfway. Just let me know. Lucius says, what are your thoughts on taking probiotics to help balance the gut microbiome? What do you think about taking probiotics? Why do you need probiotics is my thing. You see, we've been fed information that we need certain bacteria that go lay down. Tucci snuck up on me with her little clickety-clack little fingernails on the floor. Clickety-clack, clickety-clack, clickety-clack. She scared me. I used to have Nitro. He was a Morkie, a Maltese Yorkie. And, on weekends when there's basketball or softball or golf, or volleyball, or football, I like to take a little snoozy nap, maybe even for 20 minutes. I don't do it every weekend, but I like to do it. And it would be so quiet, and I would be like dreaming. And all of a sudden I would hear clickety-clack in circles around. And that was his way of saying, I need to go to the bathroom. I need to eat. I want a treat. I want you to wake up and pay attention to me. Clickety-clack. So I started calling Nitro clickety-clack. He lived up to his name. It was a joke that all my friends thought that if I were to die in my house, that I would be gone, like nothing left of me, if Nitro was in the house. Because Nitro would have eaten me. He just loved food. So did his sister, Squirt. Puppies. Oh, gosh. Lucia says, I did a poop test. She's talking to Lucy because Lucy asked, how did you know your parasites are dying off? Lucia says, I did a poop test and I have another person interested in imbalance overgrowth of E. coli. Good. Okay. What are my thoughts on taking probiotics? I say, why? You're going to eat foods and then you're going to develop probiotic or the microbiome that eat that particular food. So people who are carnivore have carnivore bugs in them. And people who eat crapola diet have crapola bacteria. They have some bad bacteria and they have some good bacteria. And the good bacteria can't keep up with the bad bacteria, so the bad bacteria overgrowth. And so you're going to take some probiotics Or is it a prebiotic? And how do you know which one to do? So you're just going to feed yourself with the probiotics. You're going to take some biotics. You're going to take some microorganisms, and you're expecting them to be alive. Were they refrigerated, I hope? Did you grow your own culture? Why don't you just eat the foods that you're going to eat and allow the bacteria to grow that feed on that particular food? No sugar food. There's no reason to take carnivore people. You know what? There's no reason to take probiotics. If you're starting out just initially, you can add a little bit of some Greek yogurt to your steak, smooth it over. That'll help you along a little faster. But once you start eating steak and eggs and butter, you'll have beautiful a biome that eat just steak, eggs, and butter. Penny says some farmers do care. I know. Like Forever Cowgirl, she's awesome, and she does care. But they raise their cattle up on pastured lands and wood, mountains and the whole 9 yards. So those cows, they're living the dream. Marnie says, look up A.J. Richards, Feed the People by the People. His mission is connecting people to local ranchers. Good. Ruth says, how's your mom doing? Thanks for asking. I hope mom is not falling asleep. I tend to bore her a little bit. She's over there on Facebook listening in. Dennis is still over there propping up his stainless steel over there on YouTube. He says you don't even have to season it. It just tastes good no matter how. Just buy some stainless steel. Sear your steaks and live a good life. Ruth says, is glucoferrin helping my mom? I think so. She thinks so. We're going to keep going. There's Peggy and Nicole. They just joined us. Okay. Well, any other questions? Do you guys have questions for each other? Because this was interesting. Learned about parasites today. Learned about some other things. Penny says, yes, A.J. Richards. Okay, I'll look him up. Everybody's going to go look up A.J. Richards. Is that on YouTube? Is it on, where's he at? Hey, Brian. And Brett just joined in. Okay. Yeah, you guys, I don't know A.J. Richards, but we'll look him up. Anybody know where he's at, or is it a he? I don't even know. It's A.J. Could that be a girl? Yes, it could be a girl. Okay, so let's review what we talked about today. We talked about the causes of high blood pressure, and we talked a lot about salt and how salt could possibly increase blood pressure. Okay? Salt does not directly increase blood pressure. There's processes that salt will go through that will increase our risk of elevating our blood pressure. So, one of those risks is when salt is in combination with glucose or fructose. If there is an excess of glucose in your body, salt will play a part in increasing your blood pressure, either via the polyol system pathway in the liver or by raising blood sugar, which raises insulin, which causes salt and water retention, which it leads to high blood pressure. So if you want to learn more and you jumped in late, go back and start listening about salt and blood pressure and fructose and glucose and uric acid. And then we talked a little bit briefly, and we can expand this tomorrow because I love talking about LDLs. We talked about LDLs and coronary artery disease. We talked about all the ideologies that we learned and grew up with, and they became concrete, programmed information in us. And when we go outside the box and try to learn something, we are going to step on a lot of people's toes, and we're going to ruffle people's feathers. So don't feel bad if you try to change your brother, sister, grandma, mom, dad, coworker, neighbor, and they don't listen to you. It's fine. Plant a seed. Plant a seed. Okay. A question from J. Michael Spouts. How about homocysteine? How about homocysteine? What about homocysteine? Homocysteine is going to be elevated in people who don't have absorption of B12 and folate. Homocysteine, when elevated, has been shown to increase our risk of coronary artery disease. Now, is that still hypothesis? Absolutely. I don't think that there's written in stone science that says homocysteine, heart attack. But correlation shows that people who have heart attacks also have high homocysteine. All right? So lowering homocysteine would be in our best interest. Okay. Chat with Lucy says, by the way, I take my Dr. J coaster to the chemo lounge and it opens up questions. Is that your doctor? And you say, yep. You guys, that's awesome. So thank you, Chat with Lucy. I appreciate that. That's cute. Hopefully you're getting some people listening in. And yeah, it's just more listeners and more people I can teach. And Lucy, we're going to be done with this little bump in the road with your health, and then we're going to move on, and you're going to enjoy the rest of your days. Well, you're going to enjoy the rest of your days no matter what, because, again, to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. And we're not asking you to go anywhere soon, but Jesus has your number. He's got all of our numbers. Our line is written in stone. But this is a learning experience. People are learning through you. They're learning through Chat with. She's dealing with it. You're pumping people up. You're getting people to be more aware of things like, hey, my kidney function is a mess. My blood pressure is a mess. And you try all the medicines and you do all the things. I got protein in my urine. And then all of a sudden, somebody looks a little bit deeper and goes, I think we should look into something else. And then all of a sudden, it rears its ugly face. I got some cancer. But we got to deal with it. We got to take care of it. We got to get her gone. And we're not going to feed any cancers any sugar, that's for sure. No glucose, no fructose, no lactose, no nothing sugar. None. All we're going to get for sugar is what our body makes. 4 grams per day at any one time. Penny says, Lucy, I'm praying for you. The other Lucy says, I'm in part 2 of my son's commencement. Ugh, tell her I said hi. Will do. Okay. Oh, that's from Christy. Part 2? We have part 1 and part 2 of the high school commencements now? It is high school, right, Lucy? Oh my gosh. Lucy, okay. All right, well, you tell her that, you tell her that she could have switched the times for that commencement and listened to Dr. J. In fact, all the people at the commencement should be listening to Dr. J. All right, so tomorrow, Sunday, 10 a.m. Central, live stream. Catch me at that time. Lord willing, I will be here. Okay? We can talk about cholesterol. We can talk about LDL and small dense LDL and ApoBs. And I bring your questions. If you have a question in regards to these things, let me know. I may not know the answer. I'll tell you I don't know the answer. Like, I don't know the answer about homocysteine and blood pressure. I'm going to have to look it up. Okay? J. Michael Spots. I have to look it up. I don't know the connection. I don't rely a huge amount on homocysteine because there's so many other things that increase our risk of coronary artery disease. You know, is homocysteine related to uric acid? I don't know. I'd have to look it up. But it's a great question, and I will look it up because I want to know. And so if you know something that I don't know, what you do, or else you wouldn't have been asking the question, let's hear it. Okay? So let's do that tomorrow. So for those of you who are listening, please go to the other sites. Go to Rumble, Iron Lady Doc, and YouTube, Iron Lady Doc, and X, Iron Lady Doc, and Instagram, Iron Lady Doc. Click follow. Push the hearts and the thumbs up and all that stuff. It's free to do. It does take your time, and I appreciate everybody's time. I really do. But if you think I can help somebody, because I've helped you, that's how we can do it. We have to share this. You have to share it. Okay? I'm only one person. I can only do so many things. I'm not the Dr. Barry, but you know what? I've been doing this for 2 years. Dr. Barry's been doing it for 8. Maybe in 6 more years, I'll have 3 million followers. It's possible. I don't know. Does it matter? No. I'm going to help 10 people. If I can help all 17 people listening to me right now that have made themselves known, I know there's more than that, but the 17 eyeballs that are on me right now, like looking at me right now, that have their name on my thing where I can look them up, yeah. What if I just help 17? Do I need 3 million? No. Because what if out of their 3 million, they only help 17? I know it looks great to have 17 and or have 3 million followers. I get it. That's ego. And oh yeah, it would be awesome, right? Feels like, oh my gosh, you're like an influencer. Influencer for what? Truth or not truth? I want truth. I want truth. I choose truth. I choose Jesus. You're either following Jesus or you're not following Jesus. There's no in between. It's either truth or it's not truth. John 14:6. I am the way, the truth, and the life. He's the only way. The dangling, you won't die thing, that's BS. Your little flag should go up. You mean I'm not going to die if I take this? No, you're not going to die at all. In fact, you can't even get infected. In fact, you could never get cholesterol elevations. Just take this. You're going to live forever. Really? I don't know if I want to live forever. And doesn't God have my line? Yeah, we're better than God. We know the truth. No, you don't. Oh my gosh. Sister chooses the truth. Right on, sister. All right, you guys. So I'm going to try to click all these off. I can't do it at the same time. Trust me, I don't have enough fingers. But yeah, so bye-bye Facebook. And bye-bye Instagram. See ya. And bye-bye YouTubers. How do I turn this off? Bye-bye YouTubers.